Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in, just imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of any worry, stress, or tension to leave your body in your outward breath. With your eyes closed, you can find it easier to turn words into thoughts, thoughts into ideas, and ideas into seeds planted in your mind that could grow into new wonderful possibilities. As you breathe in and breathe out, get a sense of any indications of stress or tension. As you scan your body, you might notice that a muscle is tense and it doesn't need to be. There may be tension in your jaw, your fingers, your arms, your legs. But awareness facilitates change. So as you breathe in and breathe out, at any moment you notice any signs of tension, that's all you need to release that tension. Every now and then you'll notice things in your life that don't seem right. Maybe it's an old cup or a plate just left on the surface that doesn't need to be there. And when you notice it, you can move it. So as you notice any clues of tension, anxiety, just allow it to be released. And as you breathe in, imagine breathing in deeper than you normally would. Maybe 2 or 3 breaths as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, extend that outward breath. Again, maybe 2 or 3 times. So the breath that goes in is longer. And as you exhale, deeper and deeper, enabling more of those wonderful resources to go in and releasing more and more of that tension leaving your body. I want you to use your imagination to imagine you're on a beach just as the sun is rising. Maybe you can see that wonderful orange and red glow. See the sun shimmering off the surface of a still sea. And I want you to get a sense that every new day is a new opportunity. You are not your past. Every day is a new opportunity to make new choices, to do one thing that creates a chain reaction. And I wonder if every day is a new page, then every now and then it requires a new chapter. I want you to unlock that spontaneous part within you that says, why not? Why not do that thing? Why not explore that idea? Because in everyone's life, there will be a final page. And in the last few pages of anyone's book, they don't get to go back and rewrite those pages from previous chapters. You only get to write the book while the book is being written. And sometimes it's easier to write that book knowing what those future chapters could be like. And every good story has a transformation. You call it the hero's journey. At the beginning of the book, certain things are revealed, frustrations, limitations, qualities that could be there but aren't there. In the middle of the book, something happens to reveal those limitations, those possibilities that aren't quite fulfilled at that point. Whatever your favorite story is, that lead character faced adversity. It wasn't easy. Something happened that necessitated change. They had a mission, a purpose, something they needed to do. And that thing they needed to do required them to change. The purpose actually enhanced their ability to become better, to evolve, to transform. And then later on in that story, they're tested. They're tested to see if that change is truly there. And normally, the hero overcomes that challenge, that final challenge. So they are fundamentally different than they were at the beginning of their story. But it was necessary for them to go through this journey, to go through this transformation. Without the tough times, without the challenges, without those winds of resistance, without those setbacks, they wouldn't have been able to dig deep and realize what change needed to be made. And sometimes you can sum up a key change in a single word. Sometimes it's breaking free of the pressures and expectations, choosing to live someone's own life. Sometimes it's stepping into the person they could have always been but never were. For some people, it's a transformation. For others, it's an evolution. But change is change. The tides will always go in and out. The seasons will always change. And the next day, the sun will always rise. So given that that happens anyway, change is guaranteed. Doesn't it make sense to be intentional about what that change is? And I want you to think of the classic representation of change, the caterpillar that is simply a caterpillar. The caterpillar can't comprehend what a butterfly can do. But the caterpillar needs fuel. For the caterpillar, it might be eating those leaves. But for a human to change, the fuel is adversity, challenges, frustrations, limitations. All those things you wished you could have done or should have done but didn't do. That's the fuel to change. All those things you feel like you've missed out on. All those times you think, why didn't I do that? If only. That's the fuel to create a catalyst, a cocoon of change. I want you to look back through your life from the perspective of, if I could go back in time and do things differently, what would have been necessary? What quality would have been needed within you that wasn't back then that could be now? Can't change the past, but you can learn from it. This is the fuel, this is the caterpillar eating the leaves. And then I want you to imagine seeing that caterpillar start to create that cocoon, that chrysalis. And I want you to imagine that you going into your own cocoon. Caterpillar doesn't get to choose what kind of butterfly they are, what color they are, how big their wings are going to be. But you can, because you are the author of your existence. You're the architect of your life. You get to decide what that new you looks like. So imagine you're deep in that cocoon, going through that change. And I want you to imagine your thoughts about the future you is programming for your subconscious mind to create that evolution, that transformation. So think about the old you, all those limitations, the resistance, the missed opportunities, as fuel to think about the new you. Imagine that new you being healthy, full of confidence and self-belief. See that new you being intentional, with a clear purpose, a mission, something they want to do that they're passionate about but could have some positive impact on the world. See that new you enjoying life, the healthiest, happiest you've ever been. And as you think about that new you, you are programming all of this inside the cocoon to create that new version of you. See yourself with those qualities that you would want. Maybe resilience. Maybe optimism, positivity. But see that expression in your face and that new you of being driven, intentional, purposeful. And imagine that in this cocoon, it's giving you resources proportionate to your level of change. If you see that new you being only slightly different from the current you, that cocoon will give you a few resources. But if you see yourself on a higher level, on a different frequency, transformed rather than slightly evolved, the cocoon will give you more resources. A very wise person said that when you start to pursue your dreams, the universe conspires to help you. So I want you to see that future version of you living your dreams. What if you only get to write this book once? Doesn't it make sense that those final chapters, however many of them there's going to be, are a wonderful story of accomplishments, pursuing dreams, adventures, experiences. Because there will come a time when that's the final page. And wouldn't it be lovely to look back on the book of your life, realizing that everything that happened up to now was necessary to create the level of change required for you to be who you needed to be. When your unconscious mind is ready to emerge from this cocoon, this chrysalis, let me know by nodding your head. And imagine emerging, feeling like it's the new you. The old you is no longer there, just like the caterpillar no longer exists when the butterfly emerges from the cocoon. The new you remembers the caterpillar, but is not the caterpillar. And if you're ready to step into this new identity, to start this new chapter, to treat each day when the sun rises as a page that you get to create wonderful experiences and stories, let me know by nodding your head. Now I want you to feel like you're returning to the present, listening to my voice, having unlocked wonderful, powerful, empowering resources. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that all of you back in the present listening to my voice. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, motivated, inspired, but fundamentally changed. This is the new you, not the old you. So any of those old rules and limitations no longer apply. You will awaken eager to make the most of the rest of this day and to start thinking about those future days. What will this chapter be like, and what will the next chapter be like? And what do you want to be the pinnacle in the story of your life? Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.